Amid intense speculation about who will represent Afghanistan at the United Nations following the Taliban takeover, the country's current ambassador to the world body pulled out of delivering an address to world leaders at the General Assembly. Ghulam Isaaczai, who represented President Ashraf Ghani's government that was ousted last month by the Taliban fighters, was due to speak on the final day of the General Assembly session, but withdrew his name late at the last moment. The development comes amid competing claims for Afghanistan's seat at the UN. The acting foreign minister in the Taliban's interim government had nominated spokesperson Suhail Shaheen to address the session. Taliban challenged the credentials of the ambassador of Afghanistan's former government, which they ousted on August the 15th. Taliban wrote a letter to the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres last week requesting that someone from their government be allowed to participate. The letter said that Isaaczai, who was Afghanistan's UN envoy under Ashraf Ghani, no longer represents Afghanistan. The UN Credentials Committee is likely to meet by November to decide on the Afghanistan seat, while Isaaczai has withdrawn his name from the speaker's list at the UN General Assembly. He is likely to remain in the New York seat until a decision is made. Our correspondent Sidhan Sibal brings you more details about that. Listen in.
WION USA Direct from New York with Sidhan Sibal.
In a significant development, there was no speech by any representative of Afghanistan at the United Nations General Assembly's high-level week. The development happens at a time when we know that there is already an Afghan envoy who was appointed by the Afghan Republic by the former President Ashraf Ghani. The name of the envoy is Ghulam Isaaczai, and Taliban has shot off a letter to the United Nations saying that they would like to see Suhail Shaheen represent Afghanistan. The Credentials Committee of the United Nations, which is chaired by Sweden, will take a final call in the month of November. They will issue a report as well that will be presented to the General Assembly. Amidst this development, the Afghan side decided, the Afghan Republic side decided that they are not going to speak at the General Assembly. This is primarily an effort under which the Afghan envoy continues his position, and of course there is an acceptability when it comes to the larger diplomatic community here at the United Nations. We know that Afghanistan saw a Taliban takeover in the month of August, and since then there has been confusion as to who represents Afghanistan at various forums, including of course at the SAARC, where we saw the Pakistani side pushing for a representation by Taliban for Afghanistan. The SAARC informal foreign ministers meeting, which happens annually on the sidelines of the General Assembly, for the first time in many decades it got cancelled because of Pakistan's insistence, but this confusion over who represents Afghanistan continues to remain at various global forums and multilateral forums, including here at the United Nations. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Sidhan Sibal for WION at the United Nations in New York.